Grand Admiral Thrawn is one of the most legendary and cunning military commanders in all of Star Wars. He appears in dozens of books and comics, the animated series Rebels, and now coming up in the new Ahsoka series, so let's dive into 7 facts about the blue-skinned, red-eyed supervillain. His full name is Mithra Nurodo, and is a humanoid species called the Chiss, who reside in a place called the Unknown Regions of the Galaxy. He was born around 59 BBY, at least that is the estimate, and was born on the planet Rentor. He was found on an uncharted world in wild space by Imperial scouts after he was exiled by what's called the Chiss Ascendancy. This is an oligarchy nation made up of individual sovereign nations that was strictly isolated from outsiders. But his exile was a ruse in order for the Chiss Ascendancy to scout this new power that had risen. Thrawn is then brought to the Emperor, where he claims that there are grave threats lurking in the unknown regions, and then he offers his knowledge and skills to the Empire and is able to convince the Emperor to let him serve as an advisor to the unknown regions. Thrawn was able to fill in empty spaces on Imperial maps that were previously in unknown regions. Thrawn is a student in the art of war. He studies his adversaries and learns everything about them and their culture. This draws a lot of comparisons and is most likely based on Sun Tzu and the book The Art of War. Grand Admiral quotes, "To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art." He's an obsessive collector of art. He would steal rare or meaningful art from his opponents and keep them as his personal collection in his office. In Rebels, inside of his office, he has a statue of an Isla Miri, a creature from the planet Merkur, that created force bubbles. It would render the Jedi unable to use the force while in the proximity to these lizard-like creatures. He also steals some artwork from Sabine Wren and a Kalikori, which was a family heirloom from Hera Syndulla, but then later on is stolen back during the liberation of Lothal. Thrawn graduated from the Imperial Royal Academy on Coruscant. He rose quickly through the ranks until he was awarded the rank of Grand Admiral by Palpatine himself. This was extremely rare, as Palpatine favored humans over aliens in his armies, especially as high-ranking officials. He commanded a modified Imperial Star-class destroyer called the Chimera. During the liberation of Lothal, the Chimera was bombarding the capital city when Jedi Padawan Ezra Bridger boarded, trying to end the bombardment and stop the destruction of his home world. Ezra, with his special force connection with animals, and specifically the Purrgil, which were large space whales, he was able to communicate with them, and following his commands, the Purrgil pulled the Chimera into hyperspace and into uncharted space. Thrawn actually met and fought beside Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars on a mission to Mokiv. He gained Anakin's respect and trust when he helped him find Padme during her mission to Batuu. Then he worked with Darth Vader after the Clone Wars on a mission to free Force-sensitive Chiss girls that were being held captive by creatures called Grisks. He was a part of a very, very small handful of people who knew Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader and still lived to tell about it. We don't know what happened to Thrawn since his disappearance into uncharted space in Rebels, but we do know that Ahsoka is looking for him during the time of The Mandalorian in Season 2, which takes place a few years after Return of the Jedi. The Ahsoka series will continue that storyline. How will Thrawn play into that story? If you've seen Rebels, you know that Thrawn's a fantastic villain. His brilliant strategies in psychological warfare versus Ahsoka and her power in the Force, along with her mastery of the Jar-Kai double lightsaber fighting style. To see how Ahsoka gets her white lightsabers after Order 66, click here, and may the Force be with you.